good evening, fellow educators. Welcome to our show where lesson will be gathered and you can even share your learning. I am your servant, Ka-Eduk Jesseline, and this is Two Talks. The one who will share their learning today are the identical twins who came from Laguna State Polytechnic University, Lapez Satellite Campus, and they are Ka-Eduk Faith and Ka-Eduk Hope. Thank you, Ka-Eduk Jesseline. Good evening, fellow educators. I am Ka-Eduk Faith and I am Ka-Eduk Hope. For this online learning, we will share to you the language knowledge of the mother tongue subject. Okay guys, let's start. First, we have root word, a term that forms the basis of another word. These are usually nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. In traditional root words, these words come from Latin and Greek and typically do not stand alone as a complete word. Understanding the meaning of the common roots can help you work out the meaning of a new word as you encounter them. Some root words can be used independently or as part of another common words in the English language. Here are the following root words are provided with their meaning, and in the parentheses is a few examples of the root as part of the other words. Next is affixes. Morphemes placed either at the beginning, middle, or the end of the root word to come up with a new meaning. There are two types of affixes in English, the prefix and the suffix. Prefixes appear at the beginning of the root word, are word bits that signify partial meaning of their own and can give reader a clue about what the word means. For example, the prefix "an" means no or not, so with the word ungrateful, one can be understand the word to mean not grateful. Prefixes are an easy way to communicate the idea of a phrase. To express the quality of non-being grateful, one can simply say ungrateful. Suffixes appear at the end of the root word, have more uses than prefix in English. Suffixes can provide information about word, change a word's grammatically function, or create new words with new parts of speech. The suffix "s" modifies singular noun and makes them plural. For example, the noun dog is singular, whereas the noun dogs is plural because of the addition of the "s" suffix. In this way, the suffix "s" can change the number of things. The next is a compound words, a combination of two root words to form a new meaning. These are many compound words. They are used in both writing and speaking to help describe things and clearly communicate idea. Here are the example of compound words. When it comes to compound word, there are three different types that are important: closed form, open form, and hyphenated. Define into how each type of compound word is different. Closed compound words are formed when two fully independent unique words are combined to create a new word. For example, we would combine grand and mother to create a closed form word grandmother. In a sentence, this would like my grandmother is coming over. These are the most common type of compound word, and here are some of examples of closed compound word. type is open compound word are formed when two words remain separate on the page but are used together to create a new idea with a specific meaning. For example, attorney and a general are used to form the open compound word attorney general. You could see this in the sentence. The attorney general holds the power in legal matter. And here are some examples of the open compound words. The last type is hyphenated compound words are formed when two separate words are joined together by a hyphen. Here are the examples of the hyphenated compound words. Next is syntax. It's defined as the set of status and principles that govern sentence structure and word order in a language. The most basic syntax flows as subject plus verb plus direct object formula. One way to explore syntax is to know your clause. These are independent and dependent clause. An independent clause is one that can stand alone and form a complete sentence. A dependent clause, however, cannot stand on its own. Remember our basic contract of subject plus verb plus direct object. These are called simple sentence. It's a new way to start when you are just learning English language. There's the subject, which is person or things being discussed, verb, which is action giver, and direct object, which is receiving the action of the verb. Here are some examples of simple sentence. Complex sentence. These are sentences that contain a subordinate clause. A subordinate clause is an additional bit of information. These mean complex sentences come together by combining an dependent clause and an independent clause. Let's expand the simple sentence above to create a new kind of syntax. Here are the examples of complex sentence. The next is constituents, the subunits in a sentence that provide a complete thought. In English grammar, a constituent is the linguistic part of large sentence, phrases, or clause. For instance, all the words and phrases that make up a sentence are said to be constituents of the sentence. A constituent can be a morphemes, word, phrases, or clause. Every sentence or every phrases and clause has a constituents. That is to say, every sentence is made up of part of other things that work together to make the sentence meaningful. For example, in the sentence, my dog Aristotle beat the postal carrier on the ankle, the constituents part are the subject made up of a noun phrases, which is my dog Aristotle, and the predicate a verb phrases, which is beat the postal carrier on the ankle. Each of the phrases in the sentence can be further broken down into its own constituents. The subject noun phrases include the noun, which is Aristotle, and the possessive pronoun and noun, which is my dog, that modify Aristotle. The verb phrases including the verb, which is the beat, and the noun phrases is the postal carrier, and the prepositional phrases, which is on the ankle. Next is syntactic category, a family of expressions that can be substituted for one another without losing proper grammar. For example, there are four syntactic categories in the sentence. The bird is flying above the field. These are the field, above is flying, and the bird. Next is semantics. It's defined as the study of linguistic meaning. It can be applied to entire text or to single word. For example, destination and last stop. Technically meaning the same thing, but students of semantic analyze their subshade of meaning. For example, in everyday use, a child might use of semantic to understand a mom directly to do. Do your course as or do your course whenever you feel like it. However, the mother was probably saying, do your course right now. Lastly is anomaly, a situation with a specific word or phrases cannot be combined to make a sense. Anomaly is a phenomenon that is a sentence true grammatically. It's meaningless because there is an incompatibility in the meaning of the words. For example, the phrase colorless green does not make sense since green is the color and colorless means without color. These are some examples of language knowledge, but even if it's limited, we believe that you're still learning something tonight. Once again, we are your servant, Ka-Eduk Faith and Ka-Eduk Hope. Happy learning, everyone! Thank you very much, Ka-Eduk Faith and Ka-Eduk Hope. Every time you follow our show, your knowledge increases. So, fellow educators, don't get tired to discovering new lesson. Maybe in our next session, you will be the one who given the chance to share your knowledge with your fellow educators. And always remember, never stop learning because life never stop teaching. Again, I am your servant, Ka-Eduk Jocelyn. Good night, everybody.